I am C.M. Winters Palacio. I've been with City Colleges since 2007, and I currently serve as the grievance chair in our chapter. At the time of the contract, I participated in the meetings when they came around to the campuses to advocate that we take the deal. And I remember asking questions. I did ask questions. I asked questions of Perry. I asked questions of Rochelle when she was present. And I cannot recall if I saw Chuck at our meetings. But I do remember there being a sheet being held up and saying, well, this is pretty much a summary of the contract. All of these things is what was agreed to, and everything else will remain the same. Now, me knowing having a pretty good, working knowledge of our existing contract, I distinctly kept asking, are you sure? So only that will be added to the contract and everything else stays the same. Absolutely. And I was like, well, right off the bat, there's some contradictions. And
what specifically are you, merit pay?
I was concerned, like, how do you work out merit pay and the whole lane advancement? And it just seemed like it was just more confusing than it was clear. And it did warrant to say, okay, well, where are the other conversations? And you do lean on the understanding of your leadership. That's why you elect them. That's why they're in that capacity, and you trust them, and I did. But I did ask questions. Hindsight is 20/20. I asked questions. I wish I would have asked more. I wish I would have turned over tables and chairs. However, I also noticed that I was a part of the same group where the leadership style was to cultivate fear in order to encourage persuasion. And so it was kind of like, if you don't want this to happen, then you better vote for it, because ain't no telling what'll happen in the future. And a lot of us were concerned. We have families. It's not a huge income, but it's enough to sustain. And if I miss a paycheck or two, I've got a family of 4. So you think about those things. In retrospect, and then thinking about how do I glean from that on how I lead, I think what it does for me is it makes me even that much more sensitive to 2 things that I'm totally firm on, is the importance of sharing information and then allowing that information to help engender empowerment, and the purpose of accepting questions and not being afraid to take questions and to be able to answer those questions. And when you don't know the answer, to say, I don't know, and then talk about, okay, how do we find the answer to that question? It was unfortunate what happened. It really was. I don't want to ever see that happen again, because not only did it result in a bad contract, what it really did was it really changed the culture of unions in city colleges, to the point that it was almost an atomic bomb. It killed everyone's faith in the purpose of a union. You cannot have a union where the people you serve don't even believe in the union. And I think because of that, that's why we have the atmosphere that we have now. It's rather toxic. I have enjoyed serving and campaigning with my colleagues here. I have been very clear on, I understand what Todd is saying about the purpose of being an honest broker. But I also know that, number 1, it doesn't take all day to recognize sunshine. And 2, when people show you who they really are, you got to believe them. And you got to believe them the first time. And so for me, it's how do you demonstrate good leadership? Is you demonstrate good leadership and how well are you campaigning? How well are you being honest when you talk to people? Are you willing to answer the questions? If you're upset, then say, hey, that kind of makes me upset, but let me tell you why. It's important to have those conversations. And it's important to know how to disagree and not be disagreeable. I have never been in such a situation where disagreement has turned into personal annihilation and assassination. This sounds like high school. And now what I'm feeling is that, unfortunately, then people become the very thing that they say they despise, and that's being oppressive.